I rolled on a couple coats of my Poodleskirt Pink, and so now I'm going to do a little slip-slappy background action here. Hope my light is okay. I'm going to wet it with the Poodleskirt. I had another color, I had another plan for this month's project. So I just want to slip-slappy some color back there, and you go just crisscrossy. I don't want it even, I want it irregular kind of. If you don't wet it with the pink, then you get a lot more white. So if you mess up, go back into your pink. I just really like movement in my backgrounds. And keep it a little bit darker near the edges, so I want to be careful of that. I don't want this very dry brush looking. I want it to be kind of moister, mishmashed together. It's almost cloudy looking, maybe. This is where my colors have ended up. Base coat's done. Then we're going to dry rub. I've got a dome stencil brush, and I've dipped it into Petal Pink. And you rub it off into paper towel real strong. And then we're gonna, this orange letters don't show up very good next to this dark pink on the heart. So, try not to smear my paint. And so what we'll do is we're gonna build a highlight. We'll just cut right through that letter. Or you could wait and base coat them after. I'm gonna give this a little puffed heart look. And again, you can stencil if you need to, stipple. Okay, repeat. Oops, throw the paint around. Sometimes the paint can get kind of stuck up in there, so you want to make sure that you... It's important to use a big brush for this, because if you use a small brush, then you'll get little spots of... Look at how nasty that looks. Okay, so then we'll stipple to fill that in, and then avoid that area while it's wet. So notice that I started in my center areas, and then as I get to the outside edge, then what happens is the paint is disappearing off of my brush, and so it softens. You want to go shape following, so if it's round, you need to be going round. Okay, that's our first step. Next we're going to dip into the Poodleskirt Pink. And we might want to go, let's go one more time into Petal Pink. We wait for that to dry in our heart. Then we're going to use the same Petal Pink. And we're just going to bring... We have this kind of magic dust kind of stuff going around through here. So bring it around in graceful curves. So we're continuing. Just walk it along the path of these confetti type things. And you know, you can go out of the lines just a little bit. You can go right over the top of things if you haven't gotten it fully base coated, or wait to base coat it. I didn't want my pattern on there and then do this, because sometimes you can smudge your pattern, so I'd rather do my first base coat and go from there. We're going to go dirty brush next into, this is the same color that we were using up here on the heart, so we're going to dirty brush next into the next lighter color for this highlight on the heart. Oops, we want to stay out of our dark area. Getting a little roll here. And we want this to be scumbly. We don't want it to be like a line. Okay, so we want it to scumble a little bit. We got some serious pink going on this month, huh? So scumble outside of the lines. Almost cloudy looking, you know? and brush off any little bristles that are showing. Okay, so we're going to go into the next lighter color, which is Poodleskirt Pink. Just dirty brush and rub it off. Be careful, because now we've been using this brush for a while and we could have paint stored up. So when you come up onto here, you want to go real light pressure. Okay, yeah, see that's coming off really strong. And we want to keep this within that other color. And I want this to be heavier on this part right here than over here. I don't want this to take over as like the center of interest. So this side of our heart's going to be bigger. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting all quiet. I'm working my magic here. Okay, so, and this is real important that I'm going to be able to see that color. So I'm going to go into warm white, dirty brush. Now the dirty brush is going to mix my pink and my white together. I think white could be a little bit startling to add right now, but with the dirty brush and as much pink as I've got in my bristles. Okay. Getting pretty. It's getting a little unbalanced looking too, so I'm going to go back into Poodleskirt Pink. I'm losing bristles crazy. These big dome brushes tend to, oops, okay, now so that's where we want to be careful to wipe out a little bit more. See those polka dots that we got on there? So we'll just dust that, staying away from that spot, and grow it just a little bit bigger. And now I'm using really soft pressure. You can hear the difference in my the pressure of the bristles rubbing. Okay, now we're going to go into stronger white. So this I'm not going to rub off so much. I'm going to keep it just in a little swoosh right there. Swoosh is a technical term. Okay, I'm liking that. Okay, I'm going to clean up my palette. I mean, my poor project has 9,000 furs on it. Okay, we want to repeat within this smudgy stuff that we did with very gently with our Royal Fuchsia. I'm switching to a smaller Crescent stencil brush. I'm really rubbing off this color because it's a much stronger color. And we want to work within the area that we've already worked. And maybe I worked off too much. Let me see. Yep, a little bit too much. Better to err on the side of too much than not enough. Oops! Yeah, there we go. I think I have dried things inside my paintbrush. Okay, so once again, we don't want it to be a strong line, but we definitely want there to be a difference between where it is and where it isn't. Okay, and I've re-base coated my letters, so I have to give that a minute before I can go up in there. Maybe right behind here. It's kind of fun. Okay, we're also going to use the Royal Fuchsia to get our edges shaded. You want to be careful of your stitching. And just not all the edges, just a little bit here and there. We want to carry that color. Okay, cup it over here. A couple people have asked me about these canvas banners. If you're using wood, then this isn't really applicable. But the canvas banners are primed on one side, and this is cloth on the back without any primer. And they're just hemmed with a 1-inch hem all the way around, and then like a 2.5-inch hem at the top. So if you wanted to make them any size, you just can adjust it to whatever size you want to hang them in your garden or whatever. Then it's really easy to do. Or they're available on the website. Okay, and then the wood banners are nice because they're double-sided. And next we need to shade our heart. I'm going to use a great big giant Filbert wash brush. It's a monster. Okay, it's about 3/4 of an inch wide. Flip around. I'm going to cut through those darn letters one more time. The reason I like these big Filbert washes is because they carry a bunch of water. Now if you're a clever girl, a clever person, you'll take a Q-tip, spit on it, you can wipe that right out of your area. You just walked over, then you won't have to base coat again. Okay. Repeat on the other side. You want to stay out of these floats when they're wet. Where did my paper towel go? Oop, on the floor. And stay out of these floats while they're still wet because you'll wipe them off of the other side and then it's real hard to fix because we're floating real big. Okay, so I'm going to stay out of that area. Well, yeah, no. Take my own advice. Just walk it up. Now over here I think I want to walk it a little bit bigger. Remember to knock your paint down and rotate your surface. And then every now and again I'll flick with the clean part of my paper towel, or my brush I mean. Oops. Go outside of my area altogether. And using that clean side gives me the ability to clean up any harsh lines that I'm getting in the middle of my project. I'm going to shade under, next to the edge of the ribbon. That'll be Napa Red. Let's take this moment and go ahead and shade on top of that. Okay, so we're going to take I have the rattiest flat brush. When your flat brushes start splaying open on you, it's time to make them into mops or base coaters or something like that. However, I'm not going to take my own advice and I'm just going to keep plodding ahead. We want to highlight or shade all of our elements that are this pink color. This one I didn't rebase coat, so I'll just fake it. Time to switch to a cleaner, neater brush. I think that might have been a base coater brush that I just had in my hand. I think I was using it to base coat the heart and then just kept at it. Okay, on the ribbon we're going to choose one side to be the shadow side. Okay, I'm doing the inside of this side. This would be a real good spot to keep a Q-tip in your hand. If you get out of the lines at all, and just clean up. This is a real strong, narrow, controlled float. I'm going to drag that one in front. If it gets out of hand, just go ahead and clean your brush and restart. Okay, so, see, you only thought I was a neat and tidy painter. Okay, another thing I wanted to point out, I'm doing this little color discovery journey through my color wheel and stuff like that. And I was watching some color theory DVDs and stuff, and they were talking about adding pinks and whites. I think I'm going to tell a photo for you guys. Okay, so when you take Napa Red, and you put it on this card, and then you add, that's Napa Red right there, and then you add white and more white and more white and more white. The amazing thing that you get when you get this is that you get the palette that I'm using. And I've got my book of colors that I've made, so every paint chip from DecoArt is in here. My Napa Red's over here. But then notice that Petal Pink is my Napa Red with a whole bunch of white. And notice that Royal Fuchsia is over here with just a little bit of white. And Poodleskirt Pink is over here with quite a bit of white. Whoops. Sorry about that. And Poodleskirt Pink is here with quite a bit of white. So what I've done, let me get you back zoomed out, if I can find the remote. So what I did is I went ahead and made my card. This is plus black, and that's actually, I think, black plum here. So I made my card, and I went ahead and mixed these mixes. And I didn't try to match these. That was what was interesting to me. But I just went ahead and made a little tiny value scale. Normally there's 10 values, but I didn't care about the very darkest and very lightest. I did a wash color, I labeled it, and then I'm going to reformat my book so that the colors that are like those colors are together with their parent color. And I've done the same thing with my cadmium orange. And I've just barely started, was playing around yesterday. I've done the same thing with my red violet and then my true red. It doesn't do any good to do this with colors that are duller. Like you would never take like raspberry and do that because this is going to be something of another. It's like a toned color or something. But these very bright pure colors, the ones that you would call jewel tones, like you would do your jewel green and your jewel blue and stuff like that, these colors, these are the ones that are going to make these baby colors. And then if you wanted to, you could maybe not own all those paints because you could own these 4 in black and white and come up with all these various combinations. And these are pure highlight colors for that color right there. Anyway, I didn't know if you'd be interested in hearing that, but I figured I'd share since that was kind of this project that started this because I was looking for the correct pink and I just decided to mix some white in with a color I thought it might be. We're going to shade our orange stuff with true red. I wanted this to have that kind of sparkle a little bit. Okay. I think it'll be a real pretty color to shade with. Let's telephoto in a little bit. Okay, and so on our ribbon, once again, gotta be a controlled float. If you're not controlled, it'll be outside the lines and stuff, so you want to be real careful. Be careful also about running your hand through things. I'm notorious for that. So shade down one side. And then when it disappears, you want to be disappearing too. So just cut it into there and then stop. This doesn't have to be a remarkably blended float. Okay, and then it cuts out the other side. Okay. Okay, then we'll flip around. This ribbon flips right here, so we'll start highlighting this side of it. Flips again. We're going to dry brush our highlights, so if your light float right here is just a little bit stripy, I'm keeping it controlled, but I'm also, it's not overly blended. Okay, and it flips one more time. And we'll choose a darker side. I think I'll keep my darker side to the outside. So go ahead and shade that. And give you a shade just a little bit on this side and make them little puff hearts. And we're going to dry rub in the insides of those. Our highlights, our shading on the lettering is going to be left side shading. Okay, we're going to do that dry brush, so that's going to go over some of our shading, so we don't have to be too picky about this. That'll perk everybody up real good. I'm trying to stay out of all my wet spots. Shortcuts are never good if they mean that you're trying to avoid something that's wet. I'll go ahead and do the top of this letter. Underneath. Okay, we're going to shade the yellow with traditional burnt sienna. And we're going to try doing that one more time and catch all the edges. Okay, on the orange, I'm going to dry brush with orange twist. Dry brush means that we're going to load our paintbrush and flick it off on the paper towel. This is Patty's favorite dry brush. And just tickle. Let's see, can you see me on camera? Just tickle ever so much to do a center highlight. It's a very soft, soft touch. I'm not pressing at all. To highlight the streamers and stuff, we're going to wipe off our brush and just load paint on one side, flick it on the paper towel. Find an angle that suits ya. So let's see if I'm on camera here. And so I've got my brush loaded on this side. And so I'm going to just draw that right next to the edge. Right on up. Using the chisel of my brush. And brighten up that orange just a little bit. Just right here in the middle on that. I'm going to stay out of the area next to where they cross, because that should be naturally shaded. Okay, now it flips back around on this side over here. Okay, tickle in the hearts. Staying out of the shadow area. This one doesn't have a shadow area on this side, so I'll bring it all the way up over there. You can increase the strength of it if you want to. And the lettering is going to be done. I'm going to have to flip this over. The lettering is, hopefully these letters will finally become visible with the highlight on there. When we have the values so close together like this, that's why you can't see the letters. So we may still have to play around just a little bit with these letters. You're just going to do the opposite sides. Just keep rotating until you find an angle that works for you. Yellow. It's kind of almost not a highlight, it's just a brighter brighter kind of color on top. And we're going to stick a little bit of that in with the orange as well. Increase the temperature. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of the what color Canyon Orange on these outer edges of the pink, just to warm up some of that. So it's not quite so pepto. A little bit on these edges here. I'm going to add these little magic sparkles, which is some little star crisscrosses of white. I'm just going to touch all the tips of some of these little elements. It's going to be busiest. Need some. Okay, and then when you get them done and they're dry, you pick up some white on your little stencil crescent brush. You just add little bits of sparkle, except for don't smear the wet stuff like I just did. I would do some spattering, so I have some thinned Napa in my brush, my rake, and I want to have some pretty strong trailing spatters of this color wherever I've deepened. Out here at the edges, down here at the bottom. I want these spatters to be a little bit kind of large. Careful, you'll spatter everything around you. A bit more. Now in our white areas, I want to spatter with white. Oops, can't find my white paint on my white palette. I think it'll be a little bit more of the dark. So again, I want it to be really kind of chunky, so I don't want to spend too much time wiping it off over here. Got out my turquoise blue. I'm going to give a little bit of that accent where I haven't spattered with too much else. We'll add a couple of little ha-cha-cha things there with the turquoise. Add a couple of these little doohickeys so that we can carry that color through. Careful about running into your I'm liking that with that, just that little bit of something else going on. And we're going to line to the left and under with Antique Maroon. Is that right? Yeah, Antique Maroon. Try not to run your arm through things. I'll give some of these hearts a little bit of that treatment too. Use your compass to mark all the lines that go around the edges of the piece. We're going to tape it and we're going to paint our lines.